From Coach, and then open up for questions.
Yeah, thanks. I guess kind of looked like a season opener. Had some moments of there wasn't a lot of flow to that game. Turnovers, free throws, just kind of took, I thought, a lot of the flow out of that game. So, at times I thought that we looked like ourselves, had our identity. Thought we, for the most part, competed defensively, although there were a few lapses. But it's still our identity showed, and we turned them over, and we get after people, and we'll play hard, and finally started rebounding a little bit some of our missed shots on the offensive end. Offensively, we got a little work to do. We had to get offensive rebounds because we didn't make very many first shots. So plenty to clean up. Still working through lots of rotations and playing, and but this allowed us to play everybody, and I think just about everybody scored, maybe but one. So minutes were spread out. First game, we got it behind us. Last year, actually, I was looking back at it today. We played Towson, and it was very, we were up one after a quarter. Maybe it was 10 or 12 at half, and then kind of start to distance a little bit. So I think it's to be expected at times in game one. But we'll get back to the drawing board tomorrow and make some improvements.
So what is it like when you have almost really a kind of short turnaround to work on those things? Is it tough to do that, or is it just business?
Yeah, no, I think it's business. And this time of year, you put a lot more emphasis on yourselves, and we have so much work to do and to get better. And playing different opponents helps, and the way they defend you and some things that they run offensively. I did think we did a good job defensively of taking them out of what they traditionally like to do based on what we had seen on film. I didn't see a ton of that. So I thought we did a pretty good job there, and made them uncomfortable with some of the turnovers in the full court. So, tomorrow we can fully focus on us. We'll turn our attention. We normally do 2-day prep for opponents, so we play Friday. So Wednesday, Thursday would start some of the Kent State stuff. So tomorrow will be all us, and then we'll still filter in things that we need to get better at on those scout days.
Mark, do you grade the first game on a curve? I'm sure there's stuff tonight. If it happened in January, you'd be more upset.
I think that's probably fair. Somebody had already asked me about my halftime speech, and if I was like, no, game one. We got to ease into this thing a little bit. There's certain expectations that you wouldn't let slide, but if we're competing and playing hard for the most part, those things, that's okay. And then I'll try to fix the basketball piece, which is what that was. Just trying to help them. Yeah, help as much as we possibly can, an expectation that we play hard and compete. And when you put the jersey on was part of my pregame, and was about, put your hard hat on and kind of go to work. And we represent a great state and people that are very passionate and gritty and tough, and we want to make sure we play that same way. So as long as we're doing that, we'll figure out the basketball piece.
Did you like what you got out of Mimi Wheeler tonight?
Yeah, I thought her start was really good. A little bit work to do in the second half. I thought she didn't play as well as she did early, and that's the challenge with her, is just to stay consistent at that level. And so she can tell you a little bit too, but just trying to even get more and more out of her. She's stepping up to the Power 4 level now, and so every night it becomes a battle, and just trying to get her to understand the level in which I think she can play, because she's a phenomenal player and she'll have a great year for us, but I'm just trying to elevate her to a whole place that she maybe hasn't been before. But yeah, you got a little glimpse of what she can be.
Mark, you told us to expect pressure and steals in a different way, with a different look with this team. See anything different that you weren't expecting? Any tweaks that you made, from that you thought were significant from the way that you have played it in the past?
Yeah, no, not really, honestly, going into. Now, their press break changed dramatically from what they had done a year ago, so we had to make some adjustments in-game on how we defended that. So that was good for us, something, honestly, we hadn't talked about at all yet this year. But as we go through it, that's what happens in these early games, and you're watching film from a year ago, and they had a whole new team other than 1.5 kids. One kid only played in 14 games, and the other kid played all year. So completely new roster. Could have been same stuff. Maybe it's not going to be, this different stuff that they run. So you just kind of guess, and then you got to be able to make adjustments on the fly. But I thought we did a pretty good job adjusting some of the press as that game kind of unfolded.
You've been speaking on the depth all offseason. What do you think of your bench today?
Yeah, I thought they settled in. I thought their second go-around was a little bit better than their first, which typically can happen. The first wave through is, you're all feeling it out and you're new. And most of those kids that came off the bench were newer for us, and we started more of the returners. And then I thought when they went in for the second time, they settled in much better.
You had 17 free throw attempts at halftime, but only made 9. Was that at all addressed? I mean, because you're getting there, obviously, as often as you wanted to, but we're only cashing in about 50%. And then third quarter, I think you're 8 for 8.
That was discussed, yes. That was very much discussed at halftime. That was yeah. Two sides to it, right? Great that we're getting there. That's a part of what we want to be, is get to the free throw line a lot, play through the paint, which we did last year. We just did it a little differently. We did it off the dribble with the guards. Now we have some bodies we can throw the ball to, which I thought we did a good job early. And then I thought they adjusted and started taking away all of our post players' space. And then that's when we started turning it over. We got a little stagnant, but we continued to attack the whole night. And we've shown an ability early, very early, but through our kind of scrimmage exhibition in the first game to get to the free throw line quite a bit.
Jordan obviously didn't have her best shooting performance, but she was also active, 3 steals. What did you like about her tonight?
Yeah, she's just a leader. Just to be able to find 15 points. She drew 8 fouls, so that is what really stood out to me. But to find 15 on 8 shots is really good. Got to the free throw line and made her free throws. But the 8 fouls drawn was great. The steals, that's icing on the cake. We need to handle it a little bit better. Her and Sydney Shaw, like 2 assists and 9 turnovers is not good enough from your 2 senior guards. So they'll be mad about that, and I'll remind them about it as well.
In a game where there's a good amount of fouls called, Sydney Woodley has 6 steals with no personal fouls. What does it say about how aggressive that she played tonight?
Yeah, she's pretty aggressive defensively. That's what we are used to seeing about every day in practice. I've said this before. We keep deflections every day in practice, and I would bet 90% of the days Sydney Woodley wins the deflections board. So something we're used to. Her activity is fantastic. Didn't quite have the offensive night that she had in the exhibition, but when we can put some scorers around her, we can give up just a little if we have to because of what she does on the defensive end.
Mark, with how often you guys get loose balls, do you have to practice how to safely dive on the floor?
No, we do we do a dive on the floor drill the very first practice. So we do a charge drill and a dive on the floor drill the very first practice, and then I don't do it again the rest of the year. It's just kind of an expectation and understanding if that ball's on the floor that we would be the first to it. But the way we play, they do happen in practice, so just naturally we learn how to kind of play that way.
Coach, the throw it into the post kind of aspect, obviously that is kind of a big, like if you watched the game last year, watch tonight's game. The strategy using that tonight, was it just because you wanted to take a look at some stuff, or is that really going to kind of be a thing for you guys, throughout the season?
Yeah, I think it will be a thing throughout the year. Some nights more so than others. We thought we had an advantage in there tonight, so of course that's part of the game plan. There will be other nights as we go on that may not kind of present itself as much, and so we'll have a different option or strategy there. But yeah, we certainly wanted to pound the paint is the term that we use, and so we wanted, paint touches, whether that was off the pass or the dribble, but continue to play from the inside out. And that's every night. That doesn't really change, but how we go about that might change night to night. And I thought we shot it well from 3 in the first half and then not so well, as that game went. But yeah, work through the inside, get to the free throw line if we can, kind of impose your will early that we're kind of coming downhill, and we're going to try to get to the rim and get you in foul trouble if we can.
And then how do you get better finishes down low?
Hopefully just to slow down. I just thought we were so sped up, and even some of the posts were just shooting it so it looked like a bomb exploding, just trying to get rid of it so fast, just like slow down and take your time to finish. But I thought in that second half, we were all kind of trying to get our own a little bit, and, we were just putting head down and driving and throwing it up on the glass or the rim and just kind of hoping it went in or hoping we got an offensive rebound. And then if we did, we wanted to go right back up pretty quickly, even if they had 5 people in the paint, which probably should have been a kick out, inside out 3. So yeah, plenty to work on. I understand why they were doing it. We had a lead, but we got to learn how to run offense and play a little bit more together than we did.
When you have that available to you, the throw it into the block strategy, how much does that, I don't want to say, it doesn't obviously change who you are as a coach, but it does change aspects to the game. Certainly maybe you didn't have in previous years. So, just how much of a difference does that make, or easier does it make? I guess.
Yeah, neither. I don't know. It's just a different way to play. I think every year as a coach, you build it based on the personnel you have, and so we were a little, more on the perimeter, and that's the way we played, especially when Kylie was in. But Jordan Thomas came in last year, just like she did this year, and she's just a little bit better version of herself now. But then, you have a Kiara Wheeler We call her Mimi, by the way, so Mimi is what we call her. And then you have Carter too, and then Cece. So just some options, and then we can throw Riley in if we want a different version of that to stretch it and space it. So when I say we're versatile, that's the stuff that I'm talking about. If we want to throw it in there, or that's what the matchup calls for, then we can do that. If we need to play a little bit more on the perimeter, we do have the ability to do that. So that's kind of the versatility that I'm excited to see what we can do with this group. But it may change game to game.
You mentioned the flow early on. How important is just trying to identify what works and what doesn't work in these first couple of games to start the season?
Well, really important. But I think every game will be a little different. Like, it's going to change based on what Kent State does, how they play a little bit. Somebody's going to have a little more size that might be able to match us, and so we'll have to play a different way. Or some people, just defend ball screens differently. So we had a particular coverage. They played us a particular coverage tonight. So anyway, just working through it, just trying to get our team as comfortable as we can early because we have so many new pieces. So we need as many of these as we can just to kind of go through the experience.
Thanks, Coach.